is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, Ira, how are you doing, sir?
Good. We're fully into it. Scrimmage last night, first exhibition tonight against the Hornets, and get a little sense of who the Heat are, what they are as we await cutdown day and the October 23rd start of the regular season.
Yep. Now, this franchise has done so many great things, and before you came on, I was talking about it, and one of the things that they just absolutely nailed, right out of the park, was honoring Pat Riley and naming the court. And there are so many times where we honor people, induct them into rings of honor, Hall of Fames, whatever, and they're too old, they're dead, they're, and it pisses me off when we do shit like that, because we're honoring people that should have been honored already, and do it in the moment when they can appreciate it and you can appreciate them at that time. Not when they're, in hospice or some shit. Oh my God, he's in hospice and we never honored him. Let's honor him now. No, asshole, you should have done it when he was. And so yesterday, I love what they did, because he is the greatest sports figure in South Florida history, dude. He passed Shula. I hate to, disappoint people, but we got to be objective. Because he's been the greatest custodian ever. Not only was he a great coach and won a championship, but then left an offspring that has carried it and the culture. And there's never, ever a valley. It's like it's a quick Bitcoin dip, and then we're back up again. It's what we're doing here with the Heat. It's not like you're down and you're out for years and then they've got to reset. No, dude, a bad time for the Heat is one off season or something. That's all it is. We have to honor this guy. And I thought it was just an absolutely beautiful thing that Mickey Arison did, and did it the right way.
And again, 30 years. I mean, everyone talks about Shula's legacy as being this iconic always here. We're talking 3 decades of Pat Riley. Who would have thought Big O, when he stepped aboard in September 1995, that he would surpass his Lakers Showtime legacy? Everyone thought, okay, he's stopping up here. He'll collect a paycheck. He'll be back out in Malibu. That'll be that. It'll always be Showtime Pat, Showtime Lakers. And instead, he has tripled his tenure there, at least his coaching tenure there, with what he's done with the Heat. He's become a legacy face. And yeah, these are the nice little touches. Statue for Dwayne, deserved. Court name for Pat Riley, deserved. Banner for Udonis Haslem, retired number, deserved. They've done the right things. You don't look up except for Michael Jordan and Dan Marino, you don't look up in the rafters and say this team went overboard in anything. If anything, this team has limited the honors to those who specifically earn. We talked about, I've debated here in the accurate Pembroke Pines report, whether Goran Dragic should have his number retired, but they're keeping a very tight list of those who most deserve to be honored. Here's the interesting part, Big O. Because there's no one above him to honor him, I think there should be something for Mickey Arison also, and his stewardship of the franchise. He arrived before Pat Riley. If there was no Mickey Arison, there would be no Pat Riley. If there was no Pat Riley, there would be no Eric Spoelstra. There would be no culture. So I know Mickey can't honor himself, but I think there should be something there also for the work that he's done in more than 3 decades, going back to his father's ownership.
I already have it. I've been saying what the Heat should do already. I already told you they should build a separate building in the back that's a Hall of Fame. The Heat have the history now, all the way from expansion till now. They have the memorabilia. They have the memories. They can create their own Hall of Fame nowadays, and it can have its own restaurant on the top, and it could be the Mickey Arison Miami Heat Hall of Fame.
And even if it's not another structure which is expensive, maybe the Mickey Arison Hall of Honor, and you just have plaques for everyone going around half the concourse or something like that as they continue to redo and revive the arena. That would be a nice touch, especially because unless you take the arena tour, now there's a charge for that, you don't get to see Championship Alley and some other places. So maybe a Hall of Honor on the tight concourses they have. But if they could do that and just have maybe statuettes or figurines of the players, others also, the Cyclies, the Rices, the Steve Smiths, the other contributors, the Ron Rothsteins over the years, Eric Reed, Jose Pineda. I think that would be a nice touch also. So let's start lobbying for the Mickey Arison Hall of Honor. I'm all on board with that.
I'm thinking big. I'm thinking glass building on the outside, multiple floors, restaurant, terrace restaurant at the top. I'm thinking statues. I'm thinking small theaters inside to show you some of the great memories from Rory Sparrow making the first one to watching Alonzo Mourning crying with the trophy, and then watching UD do his thing. I think you go all out. I think you tell Michael McCullough you add some NFTs, so that way when you have great moments, everybody knows go to the Arison Hall of Honor so you could get your NFT for that great moment, whatever it is, induction of somebody into the Hall of Fame, raising the banner, a champion season. There's so many things.
And that's all well and good, except I'm going to interrupt you here for one thing. But no tax dollars involved. We have to draw the line somewhere.
No tax dollars, but you don't need tax dollars because it's actually you're building a revenue stream. Besides it being an honor, that now you can have something open 7 days a week where Heat fans and remember, the Heat Nation is different now. Okay, the Heat Nation travels all over. The Heat Nation is all over the world. The Heat Nation comes to Miami now to watch the Heat. It's not just Heat fans that live here. So now Heat fans that come from other places can come, and even on an off day can go to the Mickey Hall of Honor and go check out all the stuff that's going to be in there. That should be absolutely amazing. It's all a glass house. It's overlooking, the bay. It's overlooking his ships. He's got the restaurant up there 7 days a week, serving some great food. It could be a sports bar too. So on game days when there's overflow, people can go to the Hall of Honor and watch the game at the rooftop bar. I mean, I got this shit set up, bro. Michael, give me a ring, bro. Give me a ring.
Knowing downtown Miami and knowing Biscayne Boulevard, it'll be on top of a condo building because they ain't wasting no real estate down there. But sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, but they can put it on the back end of the arena. They can extend and put some more concrete and and just elevate it. So that way, obviously, climate change doesn't affect it. So just make sure you raise it up. A couple of.
You know what? But they did right by Riley and Big O. Yes. When you get a chance down to the arena, the scoreboard is magnificent, and what they've done with it. They really got up to pace with the rest of the NBA. The new lighting is nice. The fact that they darkened the seats around the court, so if the people want to spend half the game in the lounges, it doesn't have that same look it had before. They addressed their product and upgraded their product. That's all you want to see is an evolution of a franchise who's making money now with the new television national deal. Hand over fist, but they're putting something back in the arena. That's all you can ask.
No, yeah, it looks, and the new scoreboard looks absolutely amazing. And listen, they've always made the Heat experience a fun experience when you go to that arena, whether it's the giveaways, the entertainment, the scoreboard, all that stuff. Ed Filomena and company just are absolutely amazing. All the stuff that they do in the videos and everything. So yeah, it's always been first class. So I'm not surprised, actually. I'm really not surprised, but it was impressive to see that scoreboard. Yeah. By the way, what was impressive was 11 threes by Bam. And
11 attempts. Not 5 makes, but 11 attempts, yes.
He took 11 threes. I'm amazed at that. I'm not amazed that he made 5 because I'm not amazed at his skill set. I've never doubted his skill set. The guy has the skill set. The question is, will he be that aggressive? Now, that's obviously a practice game.
Right.
It's not really a serious game. And I'm sure some of those threes he wouldn't take in a real game, but overall, I don't know. Should I look forward to this?
It's part of the plan. They want him to
a game, but I mean, should I look forward to a more aggressive 3-point Bam?
Yes and no. Yes, if that's what's required. I don't know if I want Bam spending all of his offensive time away from the glass on a team that's not a great rebounding team that doesn't pursue offensive rebounds. So it's a balance. But yes, if Bam's a 3-point threat and Tyler's a 3-point threat and Rozier's a 3-point threat in the starting lineup, then you might be able to get away with, say, starting a Jaime Jaquez at power forward and getting more overall talent on that starting lineup, maybe instead of Jovic. So you want to see how it meshes, how it works. Bam has the stroke. Whether he actually helps space the floor is going to be important. And here's why you can't put too much into that scrimmage and Bam shot total and three-point total. Jimmy Butler did not take a single shot. Jimmy played with a hooded sweatshirt, sort of walked through the motions. Don't overstate that. I'm looking more forward to these exhibition games. Spoelstra wants to get to his core four players and see what else works, which sort of brings us to part two of last night's discussion. And I am shocked that Orlando Alzugaray, on our accurate Pembroke Pines report, did not start here with Tyler Hero's injury being absent, and the old, here we go again.
Well, because consistency is a beautiful thing. You know, the Heat have been consistently a great franchise. Well, you know, Tyler Hero has consistently been injured, unavailable, unreliable. And so what's the difference? You know, a friend of mine goes, hey, man, the Heat are always having these soft tissue injuries, you know, and he put out a couple players that are out, but he put Tyler. I go, does Tyler really count? You know, he's always injured. So, yeah, I get it. But this is what, to me, what stood out yesterday was the Riley Court thing. It was Bam shooting a lot of threes, and he made 5. It was the whole 4-5 thing now, that you've got 4 of the 5 spots, and now we've got to decide between Jovic, Jaquez, and Highsmith.
Hayward is definitely in the mix if you decide you need another defender in the primary lineup there. So he's another option. One other thing that stood out also, just want to throw in.
Wait a minute. You're talking situationally. So we're not talking permanently on that 5th spot.
No, and again, it's not who starts, it's who finishes. Yeah.
It's going to be a rotational 5th spot is what you think it is?
No. I think Spoelstra will come with the lineup and go with it. But I think whoever starts will not necessarily finish. And we all know that finishing means so much more. So if you need spacing and playmaking, Jovic. If you need defense, Highsmith. If you need someone, maybe on a night Jimmy is out or doesn't have it going, Jaquez. They have optionality there. Maybe not the perfect answer, but they can roll through different things. Erik Spoelstra would like nothing more than consistency with his lineup, consistency with his injuries, consistency with his rotation. He'd like that. Now, will injuries allow that? I don't know, but that's important. I think another note worth making from last night's game is the way that Pelle Larsson played in the scrimmage. All the contributing things he could do, almost as if you have this Jaime Jaquez 2.0. And like Erik Spoelstra said in his post-game comments, post-scrimmage comments, look, we're not talking about a big-time star player, but you need complementary talent also. You need the other guys to do things, to step in there when other guys are injured and can't play. That was a really nice first step for Pelle Larsson. And I think we have to be honest that Pelle Larsson at 23 is ahead of the curve, ahead of Kel'el Ware at 20. College experience matters. Experience matters. Right now, Pelle Larsson is a more polished player than Kel'el Ware. I think you might wind up seeing early in the season possibly more Pelle Larsson than you do Kel'el Ware, and that's fine. Develop your players. Let him grow at his pace. He has a nice future, but don't overdo it. I'm not sure Kel'el Ware, one, I'm sure he's not starting. You and I were mentioning possible starting 4s. I don't see Kel'el Ware in that mix and Bam at the 4. I'm not sure he's even going to be a rotation player. So be patient with Kel'el Ware. Don't forget he's 20, just like when the Heat drafted Nikola Jovic at 18. It takes time. But the Heat development program has proven successful. Give it time.
Yeah. And with Larsson, I've told you, I love his attitude. He reminds me of some of the other European players that I've seen in the past that not there, you know, athletically or accomplished, but what I'm saying is he plays with some confidence that I really like about him. But going back to the 5th, who the 5th starter is, I almost feel like Jovic is the guy. And this is the reason why I say it. It's not necessarily because Jovic is better than Jaquez, but I love the energy of Jaquez off the bench with Highsmith, because then you've got 2 guys that bring energy. Highsmith obviously brings some defense too in the process. And I think that really kind of helps with the second unit and then at the same time with Jovic on the court, you got a bigger guy. So sometimes if Bam wants to pop out and shoot, you've got a bigger guy that can help you out with rebounding a little bit, and he can help start the break too at the same time because he has that skill set too. And so for me, I kind of like that combination of starting Jovic and bringing Jaquez and Highsmith off the bench. And as in the Calera Ware thing, you're right in general. But if he does develop as the season goes on,
sure.
Besides having Jovic and having Bam outside, maybe as the season goes on, Ware can be inside and Bam can be sometimes outside. So at least you have the size of Jovic, the size of Calera Ware to help you in the rebounding areas that you're kind of weak at. Again, too early for the Ware part, not the Jovic one, but so what do you think first about Jovic being the starter with Jaquez and Highsmith providing that energy? With
Eric Spoelstra said yesterday, Nikola Jovic has shown nothing to warrant removing him from that starting role. Hey, there's 5 exhibitions starting tonight. We'll see. But right now, I think he's clearly the front runner. His height makes a difference. His length makes a difference. I think Jaquez is exactly what you need. Number 1 on the second unit. But number 2, he's so replicative and duplicative of Jimmy Butler. I don't think it makes sense to play Butler and Jaquez together. They play they want similar spots. They play a similar mid-range game. So separate them now. Maybe when Jimmy misses time, which he might, then I could see you play Jaquez as your starter. Highsmith's another guy. Hey, someone gets the hot hand. He can guard 1 through 4. You inject him in that second unit, you say, okay, quiet this guy, quiet Paul George, quiet, Jalen Brunson, guard anyone. You do that, and you have a nice second unit change of pace with Duncan Robinson shooting coming in, with Kevin Love's rebounding. So you're building units. You're seeing what you can construct with that first unit, with the second unit. Eric Spoelstra has a lot of pieces at his disposal. The one thing we have to make sure of, that he has those pieces at his disposal on a regular basis, because injuries screw everything up. Because you can't develop chemistry in the starting lineup with Jovic if Hero is out. You can't develop a second unit if Jaquez is out. You can't see if you want a veteran point guard if Josh Richardson is out like he is now. You have to be able to see all the pieces in play. It's an interesting mix. It's a fascinating mix. But availability is the number 1 ability that the Miami Heat in 24-25 have to strive for.
I hope that the Heat steals a page from InterMiami. And what I mean by that is InterMiami knew they were going to have the international break. And they knew they were going to lose Messi and Suarez and even Gomez for over a month. And at the beginning, and last year they learned when they first got Messi, they were so behind, they had to try to kill themselves to try to make the playoffs, that it was impossible for them to do it with Leagues Cup and US Open Cup all in the middle and all that. It created a mess. But this year, they were smart. They started fast because they said, hey, let's save our acorns for winter. And when winter rolls around and the boys are gone, we might lose a bunch of games. And it didn't happen. They went 8-1 without Messi, which was, a real revelation there for the team. And it was fantastic. I'd like for the Heat to do the same thing. I'd like for them to collect the acorns early, because you're going to have injuries. Jimmy's not, going to miss games. If he plays them, I want them to take him serious and win those games. Collect the acorns. Be prepared, because you're going to have the peaks and the valleys. There's too many valleys in a Heat season lately. They've got to avoid those valleys, man.
And you bring up a really good point there, and a lot of my readers at the Sun Sentinel brought this up also. It's not just the 22 games that Jimmy Butler missed last year. It's the games he showed up and wasn't the full Jimmy Butler package. And you know what? This year, Big O, you have a Jaime Jaquez who can step in. Maybe a Pelle Larsson who could help. You signed Alec Burks. Either Jimmy shows up all in and fully committed, or else this team loses its way. So it's not just the 22 missed games. If Jimmy Butler is there, he has to be fully there. He has to be at full speed. He has to go all out to show what this team can be. There can't be 22 missed games and another 15 of meandering. That's what gets you into that problems. When Messi plays now, he goes in, he scores a goal, he has his assist, he makes himself noticeable. Now, he doesn't get back on defense, but no one ever expected him to. There's a reason there's a center line there for him. With Jimmy Butler, he's a two-way player who's not a dynamic offensive player, but a two-way player. So yes, I agree. I do not want to be writing stories this year or coming on the Acura Pembroke Pines report and talking about how Jimmy Butler wasn't all there last night. Either you're in or you're out. No more middle ground. I agree with that.
Yeah, let's hope so. By the way, Keshad Johnson had a nice game yesterday.
Yeah, again, the kids, the developmental pipeline, it's going to be hard for Eric Spoelstra to decide which way to go with the veterans of Richardson, to go with the veterans of Alec Burks, or to go with the Pella Larsons and the Keshad Johnson. I got to tell you, I know it's been a subject of somewhat derision. Drew Smith looked very good also last night, and the Heat right now do not have a veteran true backup point guard. So as much as Isaiah Stevens has looked good, as much as Zion Pullen could become a factor, there will be interesting decisions for the Heat team to make when they come down to their final roster 2 days before their season opener.
Yeah, hopefully Drew Smith will have better luck too, because he's also had the injury bug, because that's kind of hurt that kid too. All right, what do you got going on in the Sentinel so folks can check you out, my friend?
I have a story follow-up to the court being named for Pat Riley and how Eric Spoelstra said it was the ultimate badass moment. And what I like what he said is he stepped away from the marketing and he said, you know what? We've had the word culture on the court, but this name is the culture. And I thought that was a great comment from him. Today, the NBA general manager survey came out. I'm just going to write about that now. Spoelstra across the board basically swept the coaching honors as best coach in the league, best adjustments, best defensive coach. It just reminds you have something special in place right now. Also followed up on the injuries, like saying, hey, this can't start. And we'll have full coverage of the game against the Hornets tonight. It'll be interesting to see the combinations Eric Spoelstra goes with. Another exhibition, weather permitting, on Thursday at home against the Hawks. So it's a busy week for the Heat. And I think even though it's preseason, a meaningful week for the Heat.
By the way, the Hornets still have Michael as a consultant, correct?
That's one of those you sell off most of the team you're around a little, but he has no influence. Michael Jordan is much more involved in his NASCAR racing team with Bubba Wallace right now than he is really in the NBA.
All right, well, that's a good thing.
For Charlotte, it probably is.
That's a good thing, because the greatest player to ever play the game is also the worst general manager to ever manage a team. So,
yeah, sort of like Coach Magic Johnson. Yes, you can do one. Sometimes the other is difficult. I agree.
That's why the greatness of Riley needs to be, embraced to another level, because that guy excels in everything he's ever done. All right, follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Center. Better yet, subscribe. There you go. Ira, we'll catch up next week. Thank you, sir.
Catch you next week in our Acura Pembroke Pines report. Thanks, Big O.
You got it. There we go. Acura Pembroke Pines right now, the 2025 Integra. You can get it for $339 a month, and you can get 3.9% financing. See, they've lowered their rates faster than the feds. The ZDX get electrified, $479 for all lease approvals. By the way, if you are a current customer of Acura and you are a Conquest or Loyalty customer, you can get the ZDX for $339 a month. 0.9% financing for 72 months is also available. RDX 2024, we still have them. You can get them for $379 a month and 3.9% financing. The lot is loaded also with certified pre-owned vehicles. But again, you have such a large selection of brand new vehicles. So you can pick the car you want, the color you want, the style you want, the model you want, but more importantly, the price you want at Craig's Inns, Acura of Pembroke Pines.